For that reason, these treaties are very important because in this moment the Mapuche people are living not in their land, not in the land that was defended in these treaties. For me, the most fascinating is this is a story that is not completed because this story is still in process because Mapuche peoples are claiming for the legal value of these treaties. But to address this topic, we need to know all this history and we need to propose something for this.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you brought with you a book.
Yes.
And what does this book have to do with your research?
Okay, this is the name of my supervisor. He's a professor from this university. For that reason, I came here because he's an expert. He's an expert of this topic, and he works about the Mapuche resistance. So I can see in my topic of these treaties that you can think that these are like a symmetrical situation, but you can see the Mapuche resistance all the time. The first century of this process is very asymmetrical, but the other centuries you can see how the Mapuche are in a constant resistance in these treaties.
Can you tell us a bit more about these treaties? What are they like?
Okay, the most important of this treaty is a relation with because there is a recognition of autonomous territory where the Mapuche live there, and some self-determination topics, some legal aspects. So for that reason, these treaties are very important because in this moment the Mapuche people are living not in their land, not in the land that was defended in these treaties.
Okay.
Because the Chilean state took this land.
And the treaties, they made treaties with the Spanish crown in this colonial period, and they made treaties with the Chilean government in the Republican period. And are they different? Do they differ from each other, or how are these treaties?
Totally different, because with the Spanish crown, it was like a monarchic treaties. If you read, you see, if you read very not in deep, you see, oh, okay, the Mapuche are, the king are the boss of the Mapuche, they are vassals, but if you see all the process during the 3 centuries, you can see that vassals means something very different. It means only not to use the force against the king. But when we start the Chilean state, the Mapuche are called a brother. This is a brotherhood. They can be part of the family Chilean member, and it doesn't have anything like a brother because they start Chilean state start slowly taking the land. And so the process is so different, so it's so important to analyze in both time, because if we say, oh, I will study the treaties just in colonial period, you lost the part of the Chilean. And if you analyze only the Chilean moment, you lost this colonial part. So it's important to see all this long process.
And what impact did these treaties have on the Mapuche people?
In the Mapuche people, they are in the memory because they remember in the past we have this indigenous indigenous agency, and we were treaties as similar. We were considered people in the system of international law, like a nation. But now the state is not respecting this. So it's part of the claim. But not all the Mapuche are good with these treaties, because some people say, I don't trust in Chile, I don't trust in the war. I just want to recover my land, and I will use other methods, like taking the land again.
So they are not relying on on the political sphere, let's say, but
Yes.
they want to have something concrete,
Yes.
something material.
Yes, but in the memory, for example, I went to Chile to make interviews. In the memory, everybody know about treaties, but the people don't know all the aspects that I want to contribute. Because sometimes some Mapuche people told to me, I don't have time to read all these treaties and I don't have money to get all these treaties. So they say, thank you for this work that you are doing for us. But even with this, we will have this history, but we don't trust. Some people say that. Other people say, oh, if I have this completed history, I can go to the international community to do something about this.
And now about your research material. So you are analyzing these treaties, yeah, the texts of the treaties,
Yes.
let's say. And on the one hand, in this historical periods, and but you are also doing interviews with living Mapuche people.
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
And in what relation do these parts?
Okay, the treaties, what is written in the treaties, it's necessary to answer two questions of my thesis. And this is how was this normativity process and how is constructed this legal subject in indigenous in these treaties. That is in the colonial period basal, in the Chilean period broader. And but if I want to analyze the consequence in the present, I need to go to the people who is living the Mapuche, know these documents. So for that reason, I went to Chile. To do some interviews, to talk. I had the luck to enter to places that people can't go because I went with Mapuche people. This is the Red Zone conflict. And it was, even if I don't use all the information they give me in the interviews, this is important for me to think about this topic.
Yeah, to get a mindset, let's say, or something like that, how they think about it?
Yes, because, for example, I think we need to work ethical, and I don't want to put in a problem some people that told me something like, I prefer to burn the land, to burn this house of this rich man, than the treaties. I don't want to write something like that, but this is good to know, to understand.
Yeah. Simply also to get a let's say a feeling about
Yes.
what is happening there at the moment.
Yes, I think that when we are doing our research, we have different ways to think about our ideas. One is we are reading, other is the interviews, the people, and I think that all the time we are thinking in our research in different moments of our life. So I think even when you are dreaming, I think that all this is part of our research.
Yeah, that's right. And how do you get the people you are interviewing? How do you ask?
Because I did an anthropology master in Chile before coming, and my past thesis was regarding one of these treaties, just one of these treaties, not all this process. And in this context, I meet the people, and they trust in me. For that reason, I'm always in contact, and I advise it to them. I notice it to them that I would go, and they decide to help me, and it's very good.
Okay. So they have a lot of trust in you also.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you speak the language of them?
No.
So you are doing the interviews in Spanish.
But the language is not, they speak, but not all the people, because of the colonization Chilean process. It's born again, the language, but it's not that the people are speaking Mapuzungun all the time.
Okay. So it's more like they have a kind of Mapuche identity, but this is not necessarily bound to the language of the Mapuche language.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think can German society learn from your project? Is there something?
I think that this is a learning for over the world, not just Germany, because if these indigenous people could do agreements in a colonial context, with the Spanish crown trying to take all the land, later with the Chilean state, I think that it's important that German people can understand that we can do agreements if we want. We need to be people trustly each other. We need to have the volunteer for this. So I think that this is a way to think about how we can deal with the difference, and it's possible.
So how negotiations are possible.
Yes.
Yeah. Without somebody being the one who gets everything and the other one has to say, okay, I have to give everything, but really to have negotiations where everybody gains something off.
Yes. This is better than the radical position.
Yeah. Okay. And now you are almost at the end of your dissertation,
yes.
Hopefully.
I hope.
And do you know what you want to do afterwards?
Yes. I would like to continue with this topic, but more in a global way, because these negotiations were developed in different parts of the world. For example, New Zealand, Canada, USA. And even we can think about negotiations in the present, for example, Colombia, the conflict. So the topic of the conflicts, the possibility of negotiations, is something that I would like to be working in the future.